Hey, Bill O'Reilly here. Welcome to the No Spin News for Wednesday, August 6, 2025. Stand up for your country. Not all problems can be solved. And I hate to say that because we specialize in problem solving here. I consider myself pretty good at it. But I realize that sometimes, no matter what you do, how logical you are, how fair, how rational, not going to happen. One name, Putin. And that is the subject of this evening's Talking Points Memo. So today, the Trump negotiator, Steve Witkoff, in Moscow, talking to Vladimir Putin. There was a picture on the AP, Putin smiling, and they're talking about stopping the Ukrainian war, which is one of the biggest disasters in modern history, 3.5 years. About 1 million Russian soldiers killed or wounded, about 400,000 Ukrainians, same. But it's the civilians, because Putin is targeting them with drones and bombings and all of that. And so he has been named a war criminal by the International Criminal Court in The Hague, that's in the Netherlands. Okay, this is only the third time in history that the leader of a nation has been designated a war criminal. So Putin can't go anywhere because there's arrest warrant out for him. He's got to stay in Russia. He's the richest man in the world, as you will see if you read my upcoming book, Confronting Evil, out September 9th. We go into Putin in great detail. But anyway, Donald Trump, President of the United States, trying to get this Ukraine thing under control, and Putin won't cooperate. So what do you do? What do you do? It's almost like Japan at the end of World War II. So this is the anniversary of the atom bombs on Hiroshima and Nagasaki. The Japanese knew they lost the war. They couldn't possibly win the war. Tokyo had been firebombed. Millions of Japanese were killed, but they wouldn't surrender. And they kept fighting. And the United States didn't want to invade the island because I would say hundreds of thousands of U.S. soldiers and sailors would have been killed, including my father, who was on the way to Japan. We write about that in Killing the Rising Sun. So Harry Truman, the president, had to drop the atom bombs, and then finally, facing absolute destruction of the entire country, the Japanese surrendered. Well, Putin is not going to surrender. So I don't expect that these peace talks today are going to move the ball. I hope they do. I hope I'm wrong. And then Donald Trump's going to have to slap onerous tariffs and economic sanctions against Russia, which he should have done a while back, in my opinion. I don't want to second guess, but it was clear. Because remember that Donald Trump thought he had Putin in a place where he could be rational with him. Because the first 4 years of the Trump administration, Putin kind of laid back. But no, not now. So we do expect that these sanctions, which will cripple the Russian economy, but here's the kicker. Putin doesn't care. Doesn't care if his people die. He's lost 1 million people, killed or wounded in Ukraine for what? Does Russia need Ukraine? No. Doesn't need it. Doesn't give them anything. In fact, if they take it over by force, there'll be ongoing guerrilla war there. Ukrainians don't want to be Russians. Okay, so Putin doesn't care. Starve his people, okay. And the only thing that could really turn it fast is China. And when I was over in Beijing in May, we talked about Putin and how China is helping Putin and Russia wage this war. North Korea doesn't matter. North Korea's got a few troops in there, but they don't matter. China matters. China's buying lots of oil from Russia. So is India. And it's propping up Putin. He's still got cash coming in. You got to strangle all the cash. So I would expect that Donald Trump, if he goes to Beijing, and I think he will, early fall, late summer, will tie in some kind of deal with China to pull back from Putin. That happens, then we're in, Vlad's in real deep you know what. Okay, and that's so at least there's some kind of hope here. But again, in my original statement that, we can't solve all problems. Sometimes you've got to kill these people. And, if Putin was assassinated, that'd be good for the world. I hate to say it, but it's true. That's the best thing that could happen. Somebody take him out. In fact, Putin can't even go anywhere. When Putin goes home, he lives about 7 miles outside of Moscow in his huge palace. All traffic stops around Moscow. Nobody can move. Well, his little motorcade comes out. In his Dachau on the Black Sea, he's got submarines. And he's got a bunker underneath the Dachau where radioactivity couldn't penetrate. So if there's a nuclear war, Putin will survive. Nobody else will. Okay, so that's where we are. We're watching it, an amazingly important story, and that is the memo. All right, back here, Donald Trump announced that Apple's going to invest another $100 billion in the U.S. economy. That brings it up to $600 billion. Apple CEO Tim Cook in D.C., they were buddies, Trump and Cook, and all this is good. But I was on Hannity Radio today, and it's on BillO'Reilly.com if you want to listen to it. It's going to take a while for all this tariff stuff and all these deals to play out. In the meantime, working Americans, many of them, are suffering, continue to suffer because of Biden's disastrous inflationary profile. And what really hurts, and I told Hannity this, Hannity's very theoretical on the long term, and he's correct, that Trump has changed the economy so that we are now getting back to manufacturing, which will provide more jobs and higher paying jobs down the road. But Americans are an impatient people. We want relief now. These insurance rates, whoa, they're killing it. Government's got to take a look at that. Okay, if they can spend $100 million on Geico commercials, or Pat Mahomes and everybody else, and Liberty, 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 if they can spend all that money advertising and they're gouging us, I think we got to take a look at it. I believe in capitalism, but come on. So that's killing people. And the other thing that's hurting is medical expenses for senior citizens. I mean, these prescription drugs through the roof. Now, if you didn't protect yourself and you don't have good medical insurance, you're host. You're going to take all your money. And again, the government's got to go in and see if it can mitigate some of that. So we got about 6 months before the American people are going to have to really lock in about, is Trump doing a good job on the economy? I'm not sure that the Apple investment and all those other things are going to pay off that quickly. So that's the dilemma, because the midterms are coming up fast. And we're going to report on it honestly, as we always do. India, they're helping Russia too. And Trump slapped on 50% tariffs on that country. They'll make a deal. India can't survive that. Okay, so that'll happen. Just like Canada and Mexico are going to make deals. Gaza, hopeless. Sorry, hopeless. Hamas is not going to release the hostages. And until they do, there's not going to be any deal or any ceasefire or anything meaningful. It's just not going to happen. So I blame it on Hamas. I know many of you blame it on Israel. I got it. The casualties are horrific. You cannot count on any honest reporting coming out of Gaza because both the Israelis and the Hamas terrorists aren't going to tell you the truth. They're not. Okay, so I'm not even going to give you the numbers, but they're horrific. And Hamas started it. There's no doubt about that. Now, here in the USA, 70% of all religion-based hate crimes, see, there's race hate crimes, religion hate crimes. The FBI keeps the stats. 70% of all the religion-based hate crimes are against Jews. All right, so there were 11,679 total hate crime incidents in 2024. 15% religiously motivated, 70% targeted Jewish individuals or institutions. But I don't really get this, okay, because I grew up with lots of Jewish kids in Levittown, and a lot of my business associations are Jewish. And I don't know why anybody would not like them. I like them. I don't know why anybody wouldn't like them. Do I like Netanyahu? No. I don't particularly like him. I think he could be a lot more rational. But that's a political opinion, not an assessment of a whole race of people. Now, the Jewish people probably have been the most persecuted human beings in the history of mankind. Right? I think so. So they're a minority, and they're getting, the jihadists want to kill them, every one of them. Hitler wanted to kill every one of them. Stalin wanted to kill them all. Jeez. So the United States usually rallies to helping the underdogs. But in this case, I don't like that number at all. We don't talk enough about those truly making a positive impact. So let's take a moment to discuss Delta Rescue, the world's largest no-kill care-for-life animal sanctuary. Home to more than 1,500 rescued animals. It is staffed by trained specialists who provide lifelong care, love, and safety. They do incredible work. But look, it's important to remember that Delta Rescue relies solely on contributions from us. I have donated, and so should you. Their founder, Leo Grillo, built a legacy of dedication and everlasting love for animals. So consider making it a part of your legacy too. Talk with an estate planner. Check out the estate planning tab at deltarescue.org. You can make a difference, even get potential tax benefits. So please visit deltarescue.org today to learn more. deltarescue.org. All right, now, racism leads to hate crimes, no doubt about it. We saw that in Cincinnati, where these black gang of people beat the hell out of a few white, middle-aged people. It was stunning. Why would you do that? Now, I don't think that has a wider implication, which is why we haven't spent a lot of time on it here. I think it's just bad people who did it. But I don't think it's a bad group. But there's another story that kind of unsettling. So you know the basketball superstar Caitlin Clark. She is in the Women's National Basketball Association. Big star, huge star, brilliant player. Okay, she's on the Indiana team. Now, 64% of the WNBA is black. All right, Caitlin Clark comes in and is immediately the biggest star in the league. Immediately. And merchandising in every other way. Apparently, there's some jealousy that might be manifesting itself into physical inappropriate conduct. Here's Stephen A. Smith on it. Go.
You got people that are resentful towards her. But it's really not about her, guys. It's about what she represents. Before she ever came along, there were a lot of outstanding basketball players who happened to be black females that was doing their thing on the WNBA level. And they never got this kind of shine. This girl, the Golden Goose, comes along and she wreaks havoc.
Okay, because she's brilliant. Right? That's why she's wreaking havoc. Because she is so good. Now, LeBron James, maybe the best basketball player ever, he's been watching this situation. Go.
You know, there's a very small number of men and women that actually get to live out their dream of playing a professional sport. And we have grown ass men and women out here doing whatever they can to try to make sure that does not happen. That is the weirdest thing in the world, but it is what it is. And I'm glad that Caitlin has a great head on her shoulders.
All right, just to be clear, Caitlin Clark is being fouled at a record rate. Some of them are brutal fouls, and a lot of the refs are looking the other way. And the women fouling her are doing it on purpose. Now, I can't read minds, but it does have a racial aspect to this. But I could be wrong. Joining us now from England is Sean McLean. He's the founder of Origin Advocacy. He wrote a piece in a Wall Street Journal about all this that caught my attention. Number one, what's Origin Advocacy? What is that?
Origin Advocacy is a Washington, D.C. based consulting and lobbying firm. We help clients figure out how to best engage the federal government.
Okay, so you're basically a consultant to various individuals. Is there an ideology attached to you?
So I worked in government for nearly 15 years. So I'm very limited government. I'm conservative. I've worked for Marshall Blackburn, Ted Cruz, and in the Trump administration, including the Trump White House.
Okay. Now, what caught your attention about Caitlin Clark?
Caitlin Clark has had a seismic impact on the WNBA ever since she first joined. Merchandise sales increased over 600%, league app engagement over 600%, subscriptions to the league pass over 400%, and the team she plays for, the Indiana Fever, tripled in value. But despite all that success that she's immediately had, the league has basically looked the other way as she's been targeted on a weekly basis, and that targeting is putting her career at risk.
Well, tell me what targeting means. What does that mean?
So she is taking on harder fouls and at a higher rate than any of her peers. So it turns out that in her rookie season, she absorbed 17% of all flagrant fouls or hard fouls, more than double the rate of any of her peers. This is not something that you would see occur to any other top star in any other league. And I think a lot of fans are scratching their heads of why the league is allowing this to continue, especially given the economic impact that she's having on the league, which they've so desired for decades.
Yeah, but you're not scratching your head, Sean. What do you think it is?
Right after she was drafted and heading into her rookie year, A'ja Wilson, who is a three-time MVP of the league, she's won the championship for the Las Vegas Aces. She came out and addressed the attention that Caitlin Clark is getting, and she said it's absolutely has to do with race. And then, quote, it boils her blood when people try and say that it's not about race. And so, unfortunately, it seems like there's a lot of commentary that's being made by players when they're on camera and they know reporters are watching that show that there is a racial element to this.
Well, what the black players don't want a white superstar? Is that what you're saying?
I think as you kind of hit on and in the clips leading into this segment, there's a lot of jealousy and animosity, and that can be understood, right? If you've been an MVP of the league in the past, yet you were unable to achieve the visibility and perhaps the endorsements that Caitlin Clark has received right out of the gate, it shows that it's normal to assume that there would be some degree of resentment. However, the concern is that resentment is then leading to targeting on the court. It's happening at a higher rate for Caitlin Clark than anyone else. And unfortunately, it's creating a textbook hostile work environment for Caitlin Clark. And under Title VII of the Civil Rights Act, the federal government does have an ability to engage here.
So that's interesting. So you said the federal government should get involved with this because Ms. Clark's civil rights are being violated as she is targeted on the court, the basketball court, and no one's protecting her. Is that what you're saying?
That's correct. I know a lot of people say it's sports, that, we should expect hard fouls, and I agree with that. I'm a sports fan. I like seeing competitive play, but unfortunately, facts are stubborn things, and the statistical disparity and the amount Caitlin Clark is being fouled compared to any of her peers in the league, or the treatment that she receives compared to any other top stars in any other leagues, there's no comparison to it. And so she's facing a hostile work environment. Unfortunately, it appears that it does impact a protected class, her race, as evidenced by quotes by players in the league. And there is a federal element here to where the government can intervene. And we've already seen this. One, the federal government gets involved in sports all the time. We've seen it with MLB and steroids, NFL concussions, USA gymnastics and Dr. Larry Nassar. And even just this past year, President Trump and his administration have really leaned in to fixing disparities at universities and within the NCAA, within fencing, swimming, gymnastics, and has been receiving direct results.
All right, but this is the first time race has really gotten to this level. Why do you think the referees don't protect her more?
I think that's a great question. And I think the one key that, the 17% of flagrant fouls that she receives versus others, that's just based on calls that have actually been, that the referees actually call. The biggest problem here is that they don't call a lot of these fouls that are committed against her. Rebecca Lobo, an analyst and former player, has pointed that out. And so if there's an actual audit of the past season of all the missed calls, I actually think the disparity would be much greater than 17%.
Has any player in the WNBA said that they don't want white girls to be dominant, or any kind of stuff like that surfaced?
There's the Asia Wilson quote, right? The race, it's not absolutely about race. There's been other incidents where it's been questionable. So it seems like there is a pattern out there to where race is an element here.
Yeah, I'm not sure if that's enough to take it into court on a Title VII, but certainly there should be an investigation, because you got the videotape. You can see, as you just pointed out, how she's being roughed up, and whether the referees are looking the other way, or who's roughing her up. You can see all that. And I think that would be a very compelling evidence. Last word.
I think the point that you just made is key, right? This isn't about an airtight legal case for the federal government, but what the facts do show is that there is a lot of red flags here. Where there's smoke, there's typically fire. And if there is an investigation, and as we've seen in past investigations, once league communications are reviewed, there may be a lot more damning evidence that comes to light that really underscores what's taking place within the league.
Somebody should look into it.
Why they won't fix it.
I agree 100%. Sean, thanks very much. Really appreciate it. Let's face it, the U.S. economy is under stress. National debt rising, trade war shaking the markets. And meanwhile, China is dumping the dollar and stockpiling gold. That's why I protected my savings with physical gold and silver through the only dealer I trust, American Hartford Gold. And you can do this. Get precious metals delivered to your door, or place in a tax-advantaged gold IRA. They'll even help you roll over your existing IRA or 401k, tax and penalty-free. With billions in precious metals delivered, thousands of 5-star reviews, and an A+ from the Better Business Bureau, you can trust American Hartford Gold as I do. Please call 866-501-5201 or text BILL to 65532. Again, that's 866-501-5201 or text BILL to 65532. Our healthcare system is a mess, you know that. You wait weeks for a doctor's appointment, get 5 minutes there, then face delays, insurance, red tape. It's slow, frustrating, and it's why All Family Pharmacy stands out in the madness. All Family Pharmacy believes in medical freedom, meaning you decide what works for your health, not some agency or insurance company. Ordering is simple. No waiting rooms, pharmacy lines. Just go online, place your order, and get medications delivered right to your door. They offer 200 medications, including ivermectin and antibiotics, plus emergency kits, customized orders, even bulk buys. More than 100,000 Americans already trust All Family Pharmacy. It's time you check them out. So please go to allfamilypharmacy.com/Bill. Use promo code BILL10 for 10% off. Take your health into your own hands. That's allfamilypharmacy.com/Bill, code BILL10. Okay, here's the final thought of the day. I'm not here tomorrow because I am taping a special for NewsNation on Confronting Evil with Leland Vittert. Now, you may have seen the special we did on Confronting the Presidents, which got enormous ratings for NewsNation. So we're doing another special for Evil. It'll be out in September. And I got to tape it tomorrow because there's a lot of production that goes into these things and all of that. So I got to go into New York City. And, Leland's a good guy. So I look forward to the interview. There are 15 evil people in the book. And it'll be interesting to see which ones Leland zeroes in on. I assume Putin's going to be a big star there because he's in the news influencing all of our lives right now. So that is where I will be tomorrow. But at Bill O'Reilly is our, we give you all of our opinions and text you and annoy you and everything. So that will continue throughout the weekend. At Bill O'Reilly, to sign up for that. You go boom, 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 boom. I'll have a Sunday column. I don't know what I'm going to write about yet because Trump is so unpredictable that it kind of goes right up to the line, and then I get the latest thing. And we'll have some other fun stuff. So go to BillO'Reilly.com this weekend. We appreciate you watching the No Spin News and listening on our radio stations across the country. I'm Bill O'Reilly, and we'll see you Monday. Thank you for watching. To view full episodes of the No Spin News anytime, sign up to become a BillO'Reilly.com premium or concierge member today.